Hey, what's up? This video is going to be another analysis video of one of my speedruns. If you're new to this, I guess, format of video that I usually do, I basically go through one of my speedrun videos that I've edited and I just explain my entire strategy, like from start to finish. Kind of like explaining what was going through my head as I was making the decisions that I was making during the speedrun, so that maybe it's helpful to you when you either go to Disneyland for fun or if you do want to attempt a speedrun. I don't know how long this video is going to end up, I guess we will see, but I'm imagining it's going to be pretty long, so feel free to put this on 2x speed or scroll through the timestamps that I have here, and let's get into it. Okay, so I usually like to start out all of these videos with some context as to like what was going on before even the speedrun started. This was filmed 2 days after I filmed the Disneyland No Lightning Lane speedrun. That was the last speedrun that I did an analysis for on this channel. I was tired. My legs were still kind of killing me. And yes, there was a day between these two speedruns. If I had tried to do this speedrun the day after doing the Disneyland one, I think I would have died. My legs were I woke up that morning and my legs were killing me. The reason that there was a day between was not even necessarily because, like, originally I wanted it to be the day after I did this speedrun, but it didn't work out like that because the way that early entry works, or worked at Disneyland, on Sunday and Monday it would be early entry for California Adventure. Obviously for the Disneyland speedrun I needed it to be early entry at California Adventure. For the California Adventure speedrun I needed it to be early entry at Disneyland so that it's not early entry at California Adventure. But that wasn't going to be until Tuesday, and I needed to do the Disneyland speedrun on Sunday because Sundays are like very unbusy days. I woke up on August 12th, 2025, Tuesday morning, and I went to Disneyland to do the California Adventure speedrun. Now, I really wasn't worried about the fact that it was a Tuesday. I think Tuesdays they're all right days at Disneyland. They're not anything crazy. It ended up being a pretty busy day later in the day. But the thing about California Adventure speedruns, and we're going to very quickly find this out during this speedrun, I don't think it really matters what day of the week you do it. For a California Adventure speedrun, it really does not matter. Simply because you're gonna get done with everything so quickly. Like, you're gonna be in rope drop mode for basically the entire time because there's just not gonna be that many people there. I was not at all concerned about like what day of the week it was gonna be for this video. I went in this thinking, okay, let's try to do less than 5 hours, because that's what I initially tried to do with the one that I used Lightning Lane and early entry with, but then I got less than 4 hours and I was like, okay, but there's no way that I could do that with California Adventure Speedrun where I don't have early entry or Lightning Lane. There's no way that's going to happen, right? We're going to find out. And one last thing, Incredicoaster was down for refurbishment. That was the only one that was down for refurbishment. Also, the Ferris wheel, you only have to do one side of it now because of the rule change. And Red Car Trolley is out of the game because Red Car Trolley has permanently closed. Those are like the major changes. But anyways, it's 17 rides. Let's see how quickly I can get through these. Is it possible to ride every Disney California Adventure ride in less than 5 hours? Yes, I did it a year ago actually, in less than 4 hours. Sure. Okay, if we're not the first rotation of Guardians, we are cooked. Guardians, it's been under limited capacity recently, so if we are not the first people on Guardians, there's no shot that we can do this in under 5 hours. And So I went into this being very aware of the fact that Guardians had limited capacity because I'd seen people talking about it online, and I had seen the wait times were like way higher than what they're supposed to be, because there's 3 elevator shafts. I think I show a graphic in this video, but there's 3 like different elevator shafts that they use for Guardians of the Galaxy. One of them was being like worked on with maintenance, so that means they're operating at 2/3 of their regular capacity. So already kind of like Guardians is a very high priority right now, and it was already a high priority, but this made it an even higher priority. I need to be like the first person at rope drop, because if I'm not, then I'm probably gonna have to wait longer than I would need to do this in less than 5 hours. My biggest fear was that Guardians of the Galaxy was just not gonna be open at rope drop, because honestly, I did not really have a good plan B. I think I probably would have gone either to Spider-Man or Monsters Inc., but like, because of the fact that I'm doing a no Lightning Lane speedrun, there's no way that I'm going to get back to Guardians right when they reopen it. Like, I don't know what I would have done, honestly, and I feel like I really need to figure out a good plan B for that. Either way, if I hadn't started with Guardians of the Galaxy, this speedrun would have lasted more than 5 hours for sure, just because of how busy it got at Guardians of the Galaxy, I was, you know, good call on me to do Guardians of the Galaxy first.
Okay, I think we got it.
Also, I want to point something out right here. There's a line leader right here. So I didn't know that there was going to be a line leader. I was under the impression that it was just going to be like, you know, whoever gets there first kind of situation. Last time I did the speedrun, when I had early entry, there wasn't a line leader, if I'm remembering correctly. So I just wasn't, like, this didn't even cross my mind that this would be a thing. But it really didn't make a difference. Like, in fact, I think I still got on this ride, like, just as fast as I thought I would. So it really wasn't a big deal. And also, I was a part of the first group that was going to be let on. So I was a part of the very first vehicle. I was the very fastest to get on this ride. So that's all that really matters. And that's what I figured out as I was counting these people.
We got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm 7th.
The Guardians ride vehicle,
because I'm about to say
holds 20 people. And
it holds 20 people, so that I knew for a fact that we'd be getting on the first vehicle of this ride, which really is all that really matters for this. Because if I'd even gotten on like the second vehicle, there's a chance I would have had to wait like, I don't know, a good 5 or 10 minutes extra. But everything was all good, and this ride went just as fast as it possibly could have. I will say though, when you are just like waiting around for the ride, because it took about like, I think 13 to 15 minutes to get on this ride. When you are just like waiting around for the ride to start, it kind of sucks because it's like you feel like you're eating away at time, but it's also like there's no possible way I can do this faster. So I don't know. That's just what was going through my head.
Ride number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. This ride is absolutely abysmal when it comes to wait times.
By the way, I hope you guys like the little animation that I put. These were, this was me teaching myself how to use After Effects for the first time. And I was pretty proud of this. I think it looks cool. The way that it pops up. Look.
Your best bet is to rope drop.
That's so cool. Like I had to like frame out the little Mickey Mouse guy and then make the wheels spin. Okay, I don't know if any of you care.
This plan might just be stupid enough to work, or it might just not work at all.
Oh yeah, I haven't told you my plan yet. So right now I am doing section 1 of my 3-part plan for riding every ride in less than 5 hours. Section 1 includes 3 rides: Guardians, Toy Story Midway Mania, and the Pixar Ferris wheel.
With the California Adventure Speedrun in its current state, you kind of always have to start with Guardians. That's like the base ride that you have to start with, just because of how bad Guardians can get and how quickly you can get through it if you are like the first person on it. After Guardians, I feel like there's a bunch of different routes that you can take. You could go into Carsland, you could go straight to the pier. I don't know how crazy it would be to do this. You could maybe just go straight to Soarin and see if that works out. Initially, I was thinking of just going to Monsters Inc. so that I could just get that over with really quickly. But then I remembered that there's the Buddy Pass, so it's like, why would I do that? I'm just gonna use the Buddy Pass, who cares? Then I thought, okay, let's do Carsland. And I feel like that's what I would do. That's what I did during my last speedrun. That's what I was initially planning to do, was just go straight to Carsland, mainly to get through Mater's and Luigi's, because there's single rider for Radiator Springs, so I wasn't too concerned about that. But obviously there's that too. That would also be like a lot faster early in the morning. I quickly realized though that if I were to do that, it would not be good for Toy Story, because Toy Story is a ride that does not have single rider. There's no way to really get around that line. It usually after the first hour will spike up pretty quickly. So I made the decision of, okay, we're going to save Carsland for later, because what sucks is that once you get to the pier, like when I made that decision of like, okay, well, let's just start with Toy Story, then you can't really get to anywhere else in the park until you finish the pier. So it's kind of a difficult dilemma that you're faced with. And because of the fact that Toy Story does spike up pretty quickly, I was like, I feel like I need to do this. So that's what we're going to do. And also it's kind of crazy that I'm walking like all the way from Guardians to Toy Story, but I knew that it would work out, and it did.
Right now, I am trying to make a mad dash to Toy Story Midway Mania before it gets to a long way. The only issue is
that ride is like on the other side of the park.
And in my razor tight schedule,
it was so crazy.
I only allowed myself 5 minutes of walking time between the first and second ride.
I've never speed.
That's how fast I just assumed I was going to walk when I like did the math on how quickly it was going to take me to get there. But in practice, dude, walking like that is crazy, because like I'm walking, you know, because you can't break the rules. We're not running, we're walking. It's a different type of walking, and it's I feel like genuinely it would be better on my legs if I was just jogging, but we can't do that. We don't do that here. So
fun fact, I'm filming this video 2 days after I film my Disneyland No Lighting Lane speedrun. So my legs are already kind of dead, and now I'm doing this one.
Yeah, and that just about like killed my legs further, because like I had thought, okay, I've got 1 day of rest, my legs will be fine. No, they were not fine. They were definitely not fine. So Toy Story was basically a walk-on. I waited like maybe 2 minutes for it. I was expecting to wait at least 10 minutes for it. That's what I was thinking, which was better than waiting like 45 minutes for it if I got there around like 9 or 9:30. Me having walked on Toy Story, I was like, oh wait, I'm gonna save so much time now, because I already was expecting to walk on the Ferris wheel as well, and all of the other rides in the pier. Like, this is when I realized, like, we're not going to be waiting for, like, the next hour or possibly even hour and a half. This is going to be, like, smooth sailing for a little bit. And that's exactly what happened for quite a bit. We didn't wait for, like, all of these rides.
Ferris wheel after this, whatever line's shorter, I don't care which one. And once we do the Ferris wheel, then we're done with section 1. Section 1 was very short because it's just big rides. After this, we're gonna do all the small rides, but we shouldn't wait at all for any of them.
So the reason that I divided the sections based on like section 1 is like 3 rides and then section 2 is like the rest of the pier is because I went in fully expecting section 2 to be super easy, and the first 3 rides are going to be kind of difficult. That's kind of what I was thinking in my head, even though they're not, like, geographically, they're not that close, at least Guardians isn't. I wanted to kind of set that in my mind so that, like, for the first 3 rides at least, I need to be rushing, and then after that, I can kind of chill out a little bit because it's not going to be that bad. The Ferris wheel is a ride that will get bad later. Like, if I had waited, like, I don't know, an hour and a half more, then it would be pretty bad to have gotten on it at that point. But I knew that when I was getting there, it was like 8:30 at this point, I was going to be walking on the Ferris wheel, and that's exactly what happened.
The Ferris wheel has 2 separate options, swinging and non-swinging, and because of a recent update I made to the Disneyland speedrun rules, I only need to do one side of the Ferris wheel to consider the ride complete, which means I can pick which line to wait in.
Which one has the shortest wait?
So that was kind of helpful, and I mean, both rides were a walk-on either way, so it wouldn't have really been that bad if I did have to go on the other Ferris wheel.
Every single ride in Pixar Pier and Paradise Gardens, minus Incredicoaster, since it was unfortunately under refurbishment the day I filmed this video.
I have this Excel sheet that shows like basically the schedule that I'm going on. We're gonna be like 19 or 18 minutes ahead of schedule.
This schedule is going to be super...
This Excel sheet, by the way, is something that I make before every speedrun. I do like a quick breakdown of how quickly I think I'm gonna be able to do the speedrun, because it helps me when planning the video, like knowing what's like a reasonable goal to set, but also just figuring out like what the best strategy is going to be. And during this speedrun specifically, I was looking at that schedule a lot more often than I was for like any other speedrun for some reason. Like for the Disneyland one, I think I looked at it maybe once or twice just to kind of see where I was. But for this one, I was looking at it like after every ride. I was like, how much time am I saving? Because I feel like I'm saving a lot of time. Also, super unfortunate that Incredicoaster was down. It's my favorite ride in the park. Actually, no, I think Guardians is. But, like, it's my favorite one just because of how easy it is to get on, like, just with single rider. Like, it's a much easier one to get on than Guardians, so I don't know. I was a little sad about that. It actually made the speedrun a little bit easier, just slightly, because the little, like, GoPro thing that I have here is, like, I have a shoulder strap on it. Last time that I did a California Adventure speedrun, it was a chest strap. The chest strap doesn't really like get in the way of the restraints, but if I have the shoulder strap, then it's gonna get in the way of the restraints. So I would have had to take that off, which that would have been fine, but it would have like, cause it takes a second to put that thing on and off. So it would have taken a little bit more time, and it's something that I need to very much figure out how to do quickly during the both park speedrun. But I kind of have an idea of how I'm gonna do that. I just need to, I'm gonna genuinely practice taking that thing off and putting it back on.
Speedrun is really all going to come down to how quickly I can get on Soarin. Soarin is a really big bottleneck.
We'll get into Soarin when we get there, but I was, the entire speedrun, I was just dreading Soarin because I knew it was gonna be one of the last rides.
Almost every ride in this section is a rotation ride, which is a ride that operates in a single instance at a given time. Think of these rides as buses that come once every 10 minutes. If you miss the bus, then even if there is no line at the bus stop, you will still have to wait an extra 10 minutes to board the next bus. Just as for a ride like Jessie's Critter Carousel, it can only operate at one time because it is a single carousel ride, meaning if I were to show up in line right as the rotation begins, I would have to wait an extra 2 minutes for the ride to complete before I can get on. So for this section's rotation rides, my goal is to show up in line as...
This is a concept that I've explained before in previous speedrun analysis videos. I feel like I explained it best in this video, and I'm really glad that I did, because I feel like when it comes to this stuff, it's kind of difficult to really find a good analogy. So there's this YouTuber, his name's Summoning Salt, and he makes like speedrun, like video game speedrun, the history of like Mario speedrunning, for example. And in that video, I think it was like Super Mario Bros. There's this, I don't even fully understand it, but there's this concept where if you end the level on like the right frame rule or something, then you complete the level faster, like it loads in the game a little bit faster. He described it in a way that was like, oh, you have to to catch the bus, and the bus leaves at this frame rule. So I was trying to go off of that, but with rotations. And the thing that's important about rotations, and the reason that I bring it up all the time, like in Fantasyland and here in Pixar Pier, is because there's just so many of them. You can kind of choose, like, should I go on this ride? Like, for example, if you were like between Inside Out and Silly Symphony Swings, and you see that Silly Symphony Swings is just ending their rotation, but then you see that Inside Out is just beginning their rotation, both rides don't have like anyone in their queues, then you should go for Silly Swings, because Silly Swings is just gonna, like, it's gonna take you less time to get through it.
And with that, we now begin the speed round of some of the easiest rides to get on at California Adventure.
All right, Jessie's Critter Carousel.
There's really not gonna be a whole lot that I say during this part, simply because I was just blazing through the rides. Like, I was just crushing them completely, and the strategy was just get on the rides.
Look at this graph. Literally, I have never seen a wait of more than 5 minutes for this one.
Jessie's Critter Carousel is actually kind of cracked. I don't know how they do it. It's somehow always a 5-minute wait. Like, literally all the time. I've never seen that ride go over a 5-minute wait.
They're just about to start a... Wait, maybe we can get in. There's no shot we get in. Can I get on this rotation? Oh, okay. Dude, wait, that was big. That was so big.
Even though the cast was about to close the gate and let the ride do its rotation, they let me board the current rotation at the last second. Or in other words, I just barely made the bus.
I was like 100% sure though that they were just going to start the ride and it was just going to be that. Somehow I just got there and I looked at the cast members and they were just like, they're just like, the gate's open, bro, go through it. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought that they were going to tell me like, oh, we're going to start it, you can be on the next one, which would have been fine. I would have taken maybe like 4 to 5 more minutes. I was very lucky though. I got very, very lucky on Inside Out. I think it took me literally less than 4 minutes to get through this entire ride, so.
We're in really good shape right now. We've saved quite a bit of time. In fact, I didn't think we'd even be off the Ferris wheel at this point.
At this point, you're probably thinking like, wow, you're like blazing through these rides. You're ahead of schedule. Why weren't you considering changing the time limit at this point? And the reason is simply because I was so scared of Carsland and Soarin to an extent, but like mainly Carsland. I didn't really know fully what to expect in Carsland. There was a lot of question marks that came with Carsland, but also with the single rider lines, because I didn't really, like, I've never tested the Web Slingers single rider. I've never tested the Soarin single rider. Like, I don't really know what to expect from these. It could be really good or it could be really bad. And I was more prone to like, let me just expect them to be bad so that I can have a more realistic idea of where we're at. So because we hadn't gone through any of those rides yet, I was just like, okay, obviously we're getting through these rides. I was expecting to get through these rides really quickly. This is all expected right now. So I don't know if this is going to be under 5 hours yet, even though we're like barely an hour in and we've gotten through, what, 6 rides at this point?
Bro, going on this ride is always so scary because I always feel like I'm going to drop something.
Silly Symphony Swings is like a more tame version of Inside
Oh, by the
Out.
way, I don't know if you can see it, but there was at some point during this is when I realized that they were testing Incredicoaster on the tracks. The ride was not open. It was closed the entire day. It was closed for refurbishment. This speed run was done on August 12th, 2025. Incredicoaster was not open at all. Trust me, I would have wanted to go on Incredicoaster. I love that ride. But I just want to point that out just in case you see it in the video, because I think you do hear it at one point. Anyways.
For this corner, if we want to spend as little time as possible, we need to implement the Paradise Gardens corner rotation strat. First, check to see if one of the rotation rides are nearing the end of their rotation. If one of them is, get in line for that one immediately, because you are guaranteed to wait the minimal amount of time for that ride. Once you get off the first one, check the other rotation ride. If it's nearing the end of its rotation, then get on that one. But if not, then simply go on Goofy Sky School while you wait for the rotation ride to finish. Essentially, you just want to use Goofy Sky School as a buffer ride.
I almost didn't put this in the video because it felt a little crazy. Just fully explaining it, I was like, what genuinely is this? This is like, to the average person watching this, they're just gonna be like, bro, they're all 0-minute waits, who cares? It feels a little over obsessive, but I figured, I don't know, maybe this will help someone. And also, like, this was a strategy that I thought of way back when I did my first California Adventure speedrun, so I wanted to like articulate it somewhere in the video because it was what was going through my mind, and also I was talking about it in the moment too. But I got unlucky, and I think I got unlucky last time too, because I'm pretty sure I did, well, I don't think Golden Zephyr was open at that point, but I did Jumpin Jellyfish after I did Goofy Sky School also. But also, this was before I even realized that the single rider on Goofy Sky School is kind of cracked, and it's like always going to be a walk-on. But now that I know that, it makes that corner so perfect, because it's almost like a mini version of like Fantasyland in the early morning before all the crowds come. You have like rotation rides, but then you also have rides that you can like walk on, like Mr. Toad or something. And it's like, which one should I get in? Well, to figure that out, just look at the rotations and figure out where they are so that you can really maximize your time. But anyways,
the goofy skip goes crazy. Watch this. I'm telling you, the goofy skip goes crazy.
I was expecting
Alright,
this to
goofy
happen,
skies go time.
so
Let's
I
go.
wasn't really shocked. Last time I was shocked because I was not expecting it.
I unfortunately got pretty unlucky and once again had both the Golden Zephyr and Jumpin Jellyfish begin their rotations right as I got off Goofy's. However, it's really not a big deal since both of those rides only last a minute and a half.
Yeah, ideally we would not want to wait like anything for these rides, or we would want to be able to get on the rotations as quickly as possible. But it really, like, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter that much. At the end of the day, again, it's like a minute and a half long ride. I think actually Jumpin Jellyfish is less than a minute and a half. I think it's like 45 seconds. It's a crazy short ride. If you think this is crazy though, just wait until you find out about the Big Thunder boat strategy that I have for the Both Parks speedrun. There's a crazy strategy. I'm just gonna leave it there. There's a crazy strategy that I have involving Big Thunder Mountain and the two boats, the Mark Twain and the Sailing of Columbia.
We need to hope that we get low weights for section 3.
And as I teased before, something incredibly unexpected and tragic is in store for us at the end of
I kind of had to overhype what happened in Soarin simply because there really wasn't a whole lot that happened. As far as like drama goes, California Adventure Speedrun is not really good for making a video because there's just not going to be that much drama that happens in the whole video. Disneyland, there's guaranteed something's going to go wrong, but California Adventure, you could get through everything before the afternoon, before things get complicated, and you could do this without any drama. So that's why I was always like going back to, hey, something bad's going to happen at Soarin, because something bad kind of did happen at Soarin.
Ariel's Undersea Adventure is once again an incredibly easy ride to get on.
Yeah, there's really nothing to say about this one. I just walked on it. It was very easy.
Congratulations, Ariel. Yay, good job. Okay, anyways. 40 minutes for Luigi's.
This is where things are going to get hard.
Okay, this was my biggest fear with this speed run, because I went in fully knowing like I'm gonna have to do Carsland after I do the pier, and there's a chance that the rides in Carsland are gonna be bad, and there's not really any way to get around them. Like Radiator Springs Racers, it has single rider, so I'm not super concerned about that one. It's mainly Luigi's and Mater's. Mater's generally is not going to have that bad of a wait. It was mainly Luigi's that I was concerned about, just because Luigi's is just, it's Luigi's. It sucks. It was an issue during the last speedrun for that exact reason too. That's why I'm just trying to think for the future, for future California Adventure speedruns. I would love to figure out a run where I can get Carsland done with before I go to the pier, but without early entry. Like, I'd love to figure that out without even really having to wait for Toy Story, because that was the whole reason that I even went to the pier early, is because of Toy Story. So I don't know. I'm throwing that around in my head right now.
But now we need to do section 3, which is the final 7 rides in the park. And the rides in this section happen to be some of the most popular rides at California Adventure, which means it is not going to be easy to complete these rides in just 3.5 hours. And to make matters even worse, Luigi's Rollickin Roadsters, one of the easier rides in this section, is currently a 40-minute wait. Mater's Junkyard Jamboree has a posted wait of 15 minutes, but since I'm in a race against time and I've learned the hard way to never trust Disney's posted wait time, I'm going to figure out what the actual wait time will be before I even commit to going in line.
Hey, let me do the math real quick. I can figure out how long it's going to take us to do this one. How many Maters are there? Or how many Strat are there?
The 3 things
I'm about to give you guys elite ball knowledge for Disneyland. This is, I mean, you could do this in any theme park or any like place where you have to wait in line. You could do this for literally anything.
you need to know to do rotation math are 1, how many people are put on a single rotation. Mater's, when operating at max capacity, has 22 ride vehicles that hold 2 people.
So max capacity on this is 44 technically.
2, how many people are currently ahead of you in line. From this, you can figure out how many rotations or groups of 44 are ahead of you. And yeah, there really isn't a perfect way to do this.
I don't know. I gotta count heads now. After this rotation, they're gonna let the people in the pen in. Then there's gonna be one more rotation, and then I think it's us.
And 3, how much time does each rotation take? And I'm not just talking about the ride itself, but how much time generally passes between rotations, or as I like to call it, the load on, load off time.
2 minutes per rotation, 3 minutes, that's 5 minutes per 5, 10, 15. We might be waiting 15 minutes for this.
And sometimes you do all that math just to find out that the posted wait time is accurate.
And yeah, you can literally do that for any theme park. I think the first time I actually like tried doing this in line, it was at Six Flags. I went with like my brother and my cousin, and we were waiting in line for like Twisted Colossus. And I realized that it was just going off of a rotation. So I was like, here, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to, I'm going to figure out how long we're going to wait. And I just started like counting people. And it's a little inconvenient having to do that, but the best way to do it is just to like count people's heads because it's easier to see. I was able to guess, like, I think I guessed like it was going to take us like 45 minutes to get through the line, and we waited like 43 minutes. There are going to be some variables, like, you know, sometimes the load on load off time is going to take a little bit longer for some rotations, but usually it's going to be like, as long as the operations are decently consistent, you can figure it out. Especially for Luigi's, which we're about to find out, like, it is posted at 35, but it ended up being less than that, and it was because, like, I did the math when I got in line, and I figured out it was going to be less time, so.
This is a busy site to see at 9:48 in the morning at Radiator Springs.
It ended up actually being a pretty busy day, like later in the day, even at Disneyland too, because I went to Disneyland for most of the day after this, and it was pretty busy. There was a bunch of rides that broke down too, so.
It's saying a 30, but that's from this point. Okay. Okay, the queue's not inside, so I think this should just be 20 minutes. Fingers crossed.
But to be certain, we're gonna do rotation math for this one too.
Okay, so there's 13 cars right there. It's 1 to 2 people per car, so that's maybe like, let's just say 20 people per rotation. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 rotations, 2 minutes per rotation. In ride time, 8 minutes, but then you gotta add on load off time. That's 3 minutes per rotation, 4 rotations. That's 12 minutes, 12 plus 8. So we're gonna wait like 20 minutes. Okay, that's about right.
Doing this in person, I kind of sounded like a maniac. Like, everything that was going on in my brain, like, I sounded normal to myself, but looking back at the footage afterwards, I was like, I look crazy doing this in real time. That's why I had to add all those edits, so I don't look, like, if you were to just look at the raw footage, you would think that I'm a crazy person.
Radiator Springs Racers is 105 minutes. If we have to wait any more than 30 minutes in single rider for it, I don't think we're gonna do this in less than 5 hours. I knew that Carsland would take a little bit longer than I'd want it to. So far, it actually hasn't been that bad, but I'm really concerned about Radiator Springs Racers.
This was a big concern of mine. I knew that a lot of the speedrun was going to kind of pin on both Carsland and Soarin, and the fact that, you know, we had gotten on the first 2 Carsland rides in a decent amount of time, nothing crazy, but now we're going into Radiator Springs Racers. The standby queue is 105 minutes, because you can never really accurately guess how long you're going to wait in single rider until you, like, get there and look at the queue. But I was expecting it to be longer than 30 minutes, simply because of how long the standby wait was.
Luigi's Rollickin Roadsters is the worst non-lightning lane ride at DCA for wait times aside from the Ferris wheel, mainly due to the fact that the ride uses trackless vehicles that are sometimes insanely unreliable and can lead to a lot of downtime and less capacity. Notice how earlier I said there were 13 cars on this ride? Well, usually there's supposed to be 20, but these cars just love to not work, which is why the ride will generally have a lower capacity than what it's supposed to, which can lead to wait times that are just way too high for a ride that isn't even all that exciting.
Okay, now
rides that use the trackless technology, there's more downtime for those rides. Even like thinking of like Rise of Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, those rides are like always down. Maybe not all the time. I think they've definitely gotten it a lot better. They are unreliable because of the trackless technology. I think they operate like they need Wi-Fi or something. That's what I don't know exactly how it works, but I've heard that they need Wi-Fi. If for whatever reason their Wi-Fi goes down or something, then the entire ride goes down. So that's fun. Hopefully they find a way to fix that or make it a little bit more reliable. They've definitely gotten better. I remember when Rise of the Resistance first opened at Disneyland, it was very unreliable. And I think that's why they do take out cars sometimes, because I think specific cars sometimes just don't work. Like I said, there's usually like 20 vehicles, but there was only 13.
This is all standby. Lightning
so like
lane.
I'm looking straight ahead at a single rider queue that's like there's no one there, so I was like, oh, okay, that we're chilling.
And this is single rider, right? Okay, this isn't that bad. 30 minutes is when single rider is backed up underneath this bridge, but we're walking past that, and I don't even see any lightning lanes yet, so that's not gonna back us up either.
The bridge trick works, by the way. I've gone in line right when it's like right underneath the bridge, and I've timed it. It's exactly 30 minutes. I've done it like I think once or twice, and it works every time. And just from what I've heard also from other people who go to Disneyland even more than I do, they've also experienced this too. So just keep that in mind. That first bridge, if you see the single rider line stops underneath there, it's going to be a 30-minute wait, which 30 minutes for Radiator Springs Racers, that's not that bad. I will gladly take that because it's a great ride.
I don't know what was going on today, but the cast members were loading on the single riders faster than lightning lane.
Okay, shout out to this cast member because he is loading on the single riders insanely fast.
Single rider, usually how single rider works is they will use single rider as a way to fill in a gap. I don't think that's what was going on today. They were just letting people on. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe I was wrong, but it felt like the way that they were loading people on was just so fast. I was like, there's no way. Or we just got lucky and there was just so many groups of 5. I don't know. And this is when I started to realize, like, oh, this speedrun is going to be like another super fast speedrun, because we didn't have to wait for this one. This was like one of the big ones that I was kind of like concerned about, but we just got through it. And that's when I make the realization after this part.
Remember that Excel schedule I mentioned during the Ferris wheel?
I didn't think that we would be getting off of Radiator Springs Racers until 11:30, and it's 10:40 right now.
Seeing as we are very ahead of schedule, I decided to set a new goal. Ride every California Adventure ride in less than 4 hours.
This was kind of crazy I felt like I was getting deja vu as this was happening, because I was like, wait, this happened during the last speedrun. I was expecting to do it in less than 5 hours, and then halfway through the speed run, I was like, no, we're gonna change it to less than 4 hours because I guess my goal is just not difficult enough for me. I think it's mainly just because of the fact that I got through Carsland faster than I thought I would. I was like feeling really good. The fact that I didn't have that many rides left, I was like, dude, we could easily do that. Like, if I have 2 hours and 20 minutes left, like, that's too much time. I've given myself too much time right now. Soarin was still a really big concern, though. I was still very, very concerned about Soarin. So this is when it actually started to feel like a challenge, because I was like, dude, Soarin could screw us over, and then I could just be wrong about this. But that makes it a little bit more fun for me. I had never done the Soarin single rider queue. I was expecting it to be 30 minutes, but I was also kind of thinking, like, it's possible that it's longer, because I don't know. I've never done it before. This was also my first time using the web slinger single rider queue, and it went perfectly fine. I would say it probably, like, I probably waited just a little bit longer than I would have wanted to, but it still was like, I was still ahead of schedule. It didn't really matter. Because what they do for single rider, sometimes they let you skip the pre-show for single rider, but what they did for web slinger single rider is they put us in the room for the pre-show, but they kind of blocked us off. Like, there was like a fence around us. And then when the doors opened, we went through like a different secret door, and then they gave us our glasses and they said, okay, wait here. And then we waited there for like 10 minutes, and then they let us on.
Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure, operates very similarly to Toy Story. And you could probably tell from this clip which ride I like better based on how enthusiastic I look about slinging the webs. So because of that, if you don't use Lightning Lane or Single Rider, this ride can peak around...
So what a lot of people don't know is that there's actually a secret single rider pass for Monsters, Inc.
There are some single rider queues, like it's mainly Monsters, Inc. and Winnie the Pooh. People don't know about the single rider queues for them because they don't like call it single rider. There's not like a specific like area for the queue. They call it the Buddy Pass and the Roo Pass. It's literally just like, it's like a skip the line thing. It's insane. It's insane how much queue you skip. I would have had to wait, I think, like 55 minutes for this if I didn't use the Buddy Pass. I waited like 6 minutes. It was crazy. I will say, though, that the Buddy Pass, I have waited longer for it. I mean, I don't remember how long I waited for it. It was at least 10 minutes for it, but that was also a really busy day.
And as I boarded Monsters, Inc., having waited next to nothing for it, I thought of an even crazier goal for this speedrun.
Let me look at the time. We might be able to beat our time that I did with early entry and Lightning. Maybe. We have to get very lucky for that.
This is so crazy. Discovering that was so crazy. I felt like I was going insane because I was like, there's no way that I do this faster. Yeah, it's less rides, and we'll get into that when we get to the end of the speedrun, but it still just didn't click with me that that was even a possibility because we're not using Lightning Lane. I quickly realized, like, we could beat the, what was it, 3 hours, 51 minutes, and 25 seconds.
Monsters, Inc., Mike and Sully to the Rescue, which is a ride that will no longer exist soon, is a classic case in how Lightning Lane
it's going to stay open. It's going to stay open for another year, I think, so you got some more time to experience Monsters, Inc. if you want.
Okay, if we're going for under 4 hours now, I need to lock in.
Unfortunately, no matter how locked in I am, there is nothing that could have prepared me for what I am walking into.
It's 110 minutes? Oh my god. I'm pretty sure it's next to Lightning Lane where they have single rider. I'm just gonna ask the cast up here. Hi there, are you guys offering single rider right now?
Not at the moment, just because we're at half the
Okay, you guys need to understand what I was walking into. I wish that I got a better shot of what the queue looked like, but I went around the corner and I saw how many people were in that little exterior queue that they have for Soarin', and my heart just dropped. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of people. That's concerning. And then I checked the like posted standby wait that they had, and it said 110 minutes. And I was like, oh, wait, this is not good. But I was also like, at the same time, I was like, okay, but hold on, single rider, like, you know, obviously a high standby weight is not good for single rider, but still there is single rider. So since this was my first time even using single rider, I didn't even know where to enter. So I just went up and asked them. And that was when they told me not only that single rider is not open, but also that they're at half capacity. And that's when it all started to click in my head. I was like, oh, that's why it's 110 minutes right now. Obviously, I'm now going to go over to Grizzly River Run. But that still doesn't mean that when I get back, it's going to be like a short wait for Soarin when I get back. Like the single rider queue could still be down, which means that my only option would be standby. And there's no way they're going to process through all those people. So that was when I was doing the math and I was like, okay, 110 minutes is like basically 2 hours, which means it's going to take longer than 5 hours. So I was not happy about that. It was like a big smack in the face basically, because I feel like everything that was happening throughout the speed run, there was like no issues. Everything was going perfectly fine until this moment. And we're at the very end. So that really, it just really sucked. It was like, dang, I guess we're not over yet. I guess this isn't going to be the perfect little speed run that I thought it was going to be.
We might be cooked. She just told me that they're at half capacity. What that means, they have 2 screens. That means one of the screens is down. That's why it's 110 minutes right now. Oh God, we might not even be able to do this in 5 hours. Never mind about the 4 hours thing.
This was absolutely soul crushing. A speedrun where everything went so perfectly, completely crushed to shreds, all because one ride has an unskippable 2-hour wait? But was it really perfect? You see, the pure rides I did earlier in section 2 were so easy to walk on because literally any time of the day they are easy to walk on. Did I make a grave mistake by doing those rides earlier in the day instead of a ride like Soarin?
I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this, because if you wait long enough for the pier, the lines will get populated and you will have to wait at least like 1, maybe 2 rotations for those rides. It's still not going to be that bad, but it's not going to be like walk on. Like I was able to get a lot of those done in like, it took like less than an hour to do all the pier rides. I don't think that would have happened had I waited to do the pier till later. That's why I genuinely, like, I don't know if it's better to, like, because Soarin is just such a risky ride, like, should I just do it first and then go over to the pier? Because the other part is that I don't know if single rider, because single rider only opens when like they need it to be open. Like obviously they're not going to open it when they're at half capacity because they're already like just trying to process through all the standby. They're also not going to open it when there's just not enough people in line, because why do they need to do that? So I kind of knew that. That's why I didn't really want to do Soarin early, because I figured if I do it too early, I wouldn't be able to use single rider. I don't ever for California Adventure want to feel like I have the perfect route, because I feel like the cool thing about Disneyland Speedrun is that every route is potentially a really good route. I was so certain during when I did my last California Adventure speedrun that was like the fastest you could ever do California Adventure. But then this route ended up being a little bit better, and it was I changed it a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm just curious to see what you guys think about that.
We're gonna do Grizzly River Run first, and then maybe, just maybe, they have that fixed by the time we get back here. But if not, then we're gonna have to wait in that 110-minute line.
Thankfully, the single rider queue for Grizzly River Run was an easy walk-on.
Yeah, I kind of knew that it was going to be a walk-on. The rafts hold 8 people, so you're like, it's very easy for there to be a single rider opportunity in that. If you have like a party of 5 and then like a party of 2, then it's like, okay, now you got one person going in there. And it also helped that I don't think anyone else was using single rider at this point. It was still decently early. It was 11 o'clock at this point. So I think that definitely played into it. Maybe if I had waited till the afternoon, or if I had tried to do this in the afternoon, it probably wouldn't be that easy, but it still would have been pretty relatively good. Essentially, I just wanted to do something before I waited for 2 hours or what I thought was going to be 2 hours for Soarin. And also there's like the slight chance that, you know, they open the single rider queue, which is what I was really hoping on, and we'll see what happens. But yeah.
I'm gonna break my cameras. I'm gonna put this camera in my backpack. I'm scared.
However, my shoulder-mounted GoPro was definitely no match for the geyser at the end of the ride, where I had to literally duck under the person next to me to save the camera.
GoPros are waterproof, so it may seem like counterintuitive, like why do you care? But it would be waterproof, but the way that I use them is I plug in an external battery, and because of that, you have like a port going into like the plug, and that's like an exposed area. If you get water in there, you're kind of cooked. So I was trying my best not to, you know, get any water in there, and I was like, you know, trying to cover it. Like you see me a lot like covering the area where the ports are. I think there was some water that did get on there, but it didn't break the camera. Thankfully, everything was fine.
So honestly, we just have to hope that in like the 10-15 minutes that it took us to do Grizzly River Run, that either one of two things happened. Either one, single rider opened and they opened up the second screen, or two, the queue doesn't look as bad now and miraculously there's not that many lightning lanes in the queue, but I don't think either of those happen.
Another thing that's playing into this is there's a rule I have in the Disneyland speedrun rules where if your speedrun lasts more than 5 hours, you have to eat something. So I was thinking about just getting food and taking it into line because I wanted to play by that rule. And it was when I started realizing like, okay, well, what do I do if I get in line thinking that it's not going to be over 5 hours and then I get off the ride and it's like past 5 hours? What do I do? I think, and this is an amendment that I'll probably put on the website, if a situation like that happens, once you get off the ride, you have to get food and just take one bite of it and then your speedrun ends. That's how I would probably do it. I was like thinking like it would probably be safest to just take food into the line just to like be quick about it. But we're about to find out that I did not have to do that because...
Oh, you know what? The exterior queue does not look that bad.
Okay, dude, this was like genuinely like it messed with my brain seeing this because I really wish that I had gotten better shots of what the queue actually looked like, because the queue before, when I showed up initially after Monsters Inc., there were so many people there. Everyone was taking up all of the switchbacks in that little exterior queue. I come back after doing Grizzly River Run. It took like 15 minutes. It did not take that long. There's no one in the queue anymore. There's barely anyone in the queue. And I'm like, what happened? Where did all the people go? Like, why is it's a 45-minute wait now? Like, what? That's not that bad. I'll just get in that line if single rider's not open. That was what my plan was going to be. I was like, I don't need to get food now. I'm just going to get in line. First, I was like, if the single rider queue is open, I'll just do that. So I was just going to ask again. And if they said no, I would have gotten in line and it would have been fine. That's why I went to go ask them. And then this is what ended up happening.
I'm going to ask about single rider one more time. If not, we're just getting in standby. Is single rider open now or is it not? Oh, it is? Okay. No way.
Genuinely, this was this was so awesome. I was so happy. I wish that I could see a time lapse of just what happened at Soarin during the time that I was at Grizzly River Run. Not that much time passed at all. And I come back and it's like, oh, everyone's gone now. No one wants to go on Soarin. But what happened is they had just opened up the second screen and a lot of those people got processed straight into that room and they were able to utilize both sides, because the way that Soarin works is like you go down the hallway and it splits two ways to each of the different screens. So once they got that screen working, they were able to process through a bunch of standby people probably because they just like let all of them into the other queue. I just got lucky. Like honestly, I just got lucky. It felt like the speedrun gods were like, hey, you want to get a sub 4 hour time, we're gonna give that to you.
Wait, we just got so lucky.
This was the greatest news I could possibly hear, because now if I can finish this...
I'm literally walking on right now. There was no one in the single rider queue because they had just reopened this side. They had just reopened the single rider queue. And I was the only one who was even thinking about the single rider queue of Soarin at that point.
I will set a new record for being the fastest to ride every California adventure ride in one day. And this time, I will have done it without Lightning Lane.
I am just as shocked as you guys. We're not gonna wait anything for this. This is it. This is where they queue people up. Dude, this is not happening. We're gonna beat our record. I'm about to beat my record. Okay, once I get out of this exit queue, that is when the speedrun ends. I stop the timer once we leave that threshold right there, those gates. 3 hours, 47 minutes, 50 seconds. For reference, this was my time when I had Lightning Lane and early entry.
Okay, so to clarify, when I did the speedrun with Lightning Lane and early entry, I did the other side of the Ferris wheel because the rules currently were that I had to do both sides of the Ferris wheel. And then I also did Incredicoaster because Incredicoaster was open. I also did the red car trolley because the red car trolley was within the bounds of the game. Now it's not because the red car trolley was permanently closed. During that run, I did not do the Golden Zephyr though. So it came out to be 19 rides that I did. This was 17 rides. There's 18 rides currently in play for California Adventure Speedrun right now, but Incredicoaster was down, so it was 17 rides that I ended up doing. I still think, just for the fact that I used Lightning Lane and early entry during that run, the fact that I was able to do it faster, even with like it being just a little bit less rides, was still so crazy to me. Everything just went well during the speed run. And hold on, we'll get into the conclusion in a second, but let me show you this.
Now that I've got that $30 that I saved, I think I'm just gonna go spend it real quick.
So I went and bought some of the best food you can.
These tacos are genuinely the best. I just need to talk about this because having eaten those tacos after I just got like a world record pace for California Adventure Speedrun, getting to eat those after that, that's the first time that I've eaten those tacos. It's the tacos at Cocina Cucamonga in San Francisco. Dude, those tacos are so good. They are the best, like genuinely the best food you can get in all of Disneyland, and I stand by that. I don't even think I really like emphasized it in the vlog that I did for this, but I was so like just taken aback at how good the food was. And I also got like a beautiful place to sit at. Like it was like in the corner where like the like water is. It was, oh my god, it was so nice. I think about those tacos all the time. Next time I go, I'm gonna get those tacos again. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that. But to kind of conclude everything, this speedrun went very well. There were very few issues. I would say there are areas of improvement though. That's the thing. I think what's really cool about this is that there are areas of improvement. Carsland didn't take that long, relatively speaking, but I think that there is a reality where Carsland does not. I think I can do Carsland faster. I like to believe that I can do Carsland before I even get to the pier and still be okay with Toy Story. It might be a bit of a risk, but I think that's something that I'm genuinely going to look into. I wonder if doing Soarin earlier, like, I don't know. I don't know. Doing Soarin earlier, I'm not super sold on, but I think doing Carsland earlier, definitely. Soarin almost was a problem, but I ended up playing that perfectly. The fact that I went to Grizzly River Run instead of getting in the standby queue, like I would have had to wait a lot longer. It would have taken a lot longer if I had done it the other way around. I'm trying to think if there were any other issues. Like literally everything was perfect. Like I think it was mainly just Carsland and Soarin. Those were the two areas, mainly Carsland though. The cool thing about California Adventure speedruns is that, like, I wouldn't recommend doing a Disneyland speedrun unless you are fully committed, like to the point where even when you become physically uncomfortable, you're still willing to push yourself and keep going. California Adventure Speedrun is not like that though, because you get done with everything before it gets busy. So you're like, it literally like less than 4 hours to do this. It's not going to be that bad, but Disneyland speedruns are a little bit different. You're going to be in the park like all day riding rides. Because of that, I think that you can really refine a California Adventure speedrun. It makes it so that it is still, like, for the most part, 100% fun. Disneyland speedruns are like 70% fun, 30% torture, depending on what happens. Even though I feel like the California Adventure speedrun that I did here was so perfect, I think there is still a lot of area of improvement that I really want to look into. Because I'm gonna give you guys a little spoiler about the Both Parks speedrun, which is happening, by the way. May 17th, 2026, I am going to be filming the Both Parks speedrun. Wish me luck, by the way, because I'm terrified of that. It's gonna be crazy. But spoiler alert, I'm going to be doing all of California Adventure before I even go into Disneyland. I'll explain why I do that whenever I do the Both Parks speedrun analysis. That's going to be a crazy video. I would love to really refine down this speedrun so that, because the park hopping rule currently is that you can park hop at 11 a.m. And I was done with this, like, it took me like, what, 3 hours, 47 minutes? So I was done at like 11:47. It would be nice if I could be done like right at 11, or like if I could just shave down that time just a little bit. And I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I might just have to manifest that some rides are just like under refurbishment for the day, which might happen. Toy Story might be under refurbishment that day. Fingers crossed. Like genuinely, if Toy Story is down for refurbishment, okay, we're getting into analysis of Both Parks speedrun, but if Toy Story is down for refurbishment during the speedrun, it will help so much. That's all I'm gonna say. I think that there's just a lot of opportunity for this speedrun to be refined on. And I know for a fact that actually it can be done faster because this speedrun was actually already beat. Let me show you guys. This guy, Timbo, he already beat me. He did it on a day that all rides were open. He did this like, I think like a week after I did mine, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, he ended up doing it just a teeny bit faster. So shout out to Timbo. He's done a few speedruns. He did one for Disneyland, No Lightning Lane 2. Anyways, with all that being said, that is the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I now have to go plan for the Both Park speedrun because it's coming up soon. As I film this, it's actually March 17th, 2026. We have exactly 2 months until the Both Park speedrun happens. And I'm excited, but I'm also really terrified because I really want to be successful, and it might be difficult to be successful on it because there's just so many rides. But yeah, that's why I need to study up on these wait times. So I will see you until then.